Tonight, we will be delving into some of the issues pertaining to food scarcity in Nigeria and food security. There are a lot of measures that the president has promised that he will take to ensure that Nigerians not only get food and some major food items by setting up a lot of strategies and ensuring that we have good harvests so that farmers can be able to produce locally and that we will reduce the dependence on importation of food. First, we need to be able to provide the basic food that we eat as a nation. That is what the president says is one of his major agenda when he got into office. But has that been done? You look at the prices of commodities, prices of food, basic food items, from tomato to rice to gari and maize and whatever you're mentioning. You look at the prices astronomically gone up compared to what you saw before President Bola Tinubu got into office. But where are we headed as a people tonight? I'll be speaking with the Honorable Minister for State for Agriculture, Senator Shabi Abdullahi, who is live for us here in our Abuja studio. It's a pleasure having you join us on the program.
Thank you very much, Seun, for having me.
Thank you so much indeed.
And let you say Happy New Year.
Yes, sir. I mean, if you see, even if it's in June of this year, it still could be Happy New Year. Yeah. But thank you so much indeed. Let's get straight to it. It's concerning though, and I'm sure that you are as well worried. As a former senator, you are closer to the people, and you can feel the pain of the people when what they used to buy before President Bola Tinubu got into office, now the prices have gone astronomical high. And in the years that we cannot remember, this is the first time we're seeing prices of food or food inflation gotten to this point. It is alarming, isn't it? And it's worrisome. And he's the president bothered that the average Nigerian citizen may not even be able to afford to buy food for themselves.
Well, thank you, Seun. And I think what you have just said requires that we put certain context if we are to properly understand the subject of our discussion. First, are we saying that change is not inevitable? In life, change is inevitable, is the constant. And you see, for you to say things were this way before the coming of a president, to me, is uncharitable, because we knew this country when you were buying Volkswagen at a particular price, car at a particular price, and those prices today cannot even buy the wheel of a bicycle. So I think we should not use this kind of analogy to situate our case. But maybe let me react to the headline I saw you talking about, risk of food scarcity. Nigeria is not in risk of food scarcity. It has not been and will never be, by the grace of God.
So what
I want to say here is that when you say scarcity, it means it's not even available. Nigeria has not suffered from that. But what has happened is that there are dynamics. The economics around food goes beyond just the immediate sector. There are macroeconomic issues. And I think Mr. President fully understands this. And that also speaks volume to why, upon assumption of office, as early as July, he resumed office in May. But by July, he has already declared a state of emergency on food security. And by the time the 8-point agenda was reeled out, food security was in the front burner. So I think saying that maybe is Mr. President concerned? Yes, Mr. President is deeply concerned. And he has shown his concern in terms of the measures he has put in place, both within the sector and also within what I will call the entire economy, which I will talk to in each of these, bifurcation I've mentioned.
So, thank you so much, Minister, for trying to clarify some of the worries. If it's not concerning for if any leader is not worried about...
I never said he's not concerned.
Yeah, no, I'm driving somewhere. I'm saying if any leader is not worried about whether or not a citizen can feed themselves, that means the leader is not responsible. But now that you have told us that the president is worried, is concerned, and you that are in charge of some of these duties are also looking into ensuring that the disaster that was looming is averted. Let's get into it. And we'll get in somewhere. You remember in this country that there was flooding that destroyed farmland in Kogi, Benue, and in Nasarawa, and we saw what that did to us. In this country, we know how much of Indonesian rice that we were importing. At some point, when a government in this country said, "No more, we need to reduce and cut that," most of the rice getting their way in and out of the country, and we do know what some of these illegal, our borders, our porous border, what it cost us in terms of food security in Nigeria. There are those who will say we have the capacity to be able to produce the kind of food that we eat. But the big question is, are we organized enough, considering the public sector effort and the private sector effort, to be able to organize ourselves and galvanize the nation in producing what it can feed on? And I remind you, Minister, because facts are sacred.
Yeah.
A bag of rice before this government got into office about 95,000 naira. That's February in 20. Let me not even go back as 2023. Let me go into 2024. 95,000 of February 2024. You know what a bag of rice costs right now. A loaf of bread in February of 2024 is about 1,500. A tuber of yam in February 2024. No, you know, because you are the Minister of Food in charge of that. Tuber of yam, 7,500. A crate of egg, February, 4,500 naira in February 2024. One bag of pepper, February 2024, 85,000 naira. One bag of beans, February 2024, 80,000. And if you look at all of these prices, food inflation is perhaps one of the most worrisome trend in all of the types of inflation that we have in this country. So one, we can be able to say that things were not the way they used to be. Things skyrocketed based on the decision of this government. First and foremost was how to stem the tide of the rising price. So what have you done, Minister, to ensure that you tame food inflation?
Well, you painted a picture. And before I tell you what we have done, I think I have to go back to that picture.
Okay.
Where you said decisions by this administration. You see, the president made a situation that requires that he should be bold as a leader, he should be courageous as a leader, he should be passionate, patriotic, and also compassionate. And when I say compassionate, I will make an analogy for you. I'm a veterinarian. And whenever you want to do what they call surgery, it means you want to heal that animal. If it's a human being, the medical doctor wants to heal. But will he spare the knife? No. He has to put in the knife, get to the problem, and resolve it. All of us were witness to the campaign trail, and you played a very prominent role in bringing all the gladiators. All of them said, including the civil society, NGOs, people who are speaking, that one canker one in Nigeria was fuel subsidy. And everybody promised he was going to remove fuel subsidy. And by the time the president came on board, it was quite obvious that fuel subsidy has to give way. And of course, from that period to now, it has reset our mindset as a nation. And of course, the rehabilitation of the refineries and all those other decisions are now receiving full throttle attention. So that is a context we need to put in place. And I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that the pains that this thing has engendered is not unknown to Mr. President. He's fully aware, he is concerned, and that is why he's working together with the economic team to see that we try to reverse this trend. So within that context, One of the things we need to do is the aspect of food, like you have said, because Mr. President said his vision is a Nigeria where no one goes to bed hungry. But right now, there are challenges. But if you have a vision, then you are walking your path towards that vision. And that's what we are doing. Now, you recall when we came on board, the 2023-2024 dry season farming. We did what has never been done before. Wheat farming was weak, and Mr. President intervened through the National Agricultural Growth Scheme, Agro Pocket Project, and we were able to cultivate 118,000 hectares of wheat spread across 11 wheat producing states. And by the time you juxtapose this with some of the private sector participation, Flour Mills of Nigeria, some private individuals, we knew the figure was more than that. But based on our programming, it was 120 target, and we were able to do 118, about 700 a day about. Meaning we were able to inject more than 500,000 metric tons